Okay. Any citizens here that wish to address the board? All right. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, omnibus vote agenda. Is there a motion to approve items A through H?
So made.
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments or questions from the board on anything want to be pulled? If not, roll call.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Okay, motion carries. Unfinished business, approval of Kemper voucher list of bills dated February 17th, 2015 in the amount of $46,862.42. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Comments or questions? If none, roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Abstain.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
And for the record, I'd vote aye. Motion carries. Approval of the February 3rd, 2015 Village Board meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So made. Second.
Motion is second. Comments or questions? Any corrections or deletions? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Motion carries. C, approval and passage of resolution 2015-020, resolution authorizing the approval of the calendar year 2015 municipal golf course budget as presented by Kemper Sports Management.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Comments or questions? If none, roll call.
Trustee Schwartz?
Abstain.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
For the record, I'd vote aye. Okay, new business communication, approval and passage of ordinance 2015-010, an ordinance directing the sale of real estate in the village of Vernon Hills, Lake County, Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. What are we selling?
That property.
This is the 80 Brook Hill property.
The who?
The 80 Brook Hill property.
Cat lady.
Oh, yeah, correct. Yeah. The one on, what is that, Brookside?
Stone fence.
Stone.
No, well, it's a
It's
street.
not a stone fence.
Oh,
but it's on Brooks.
Brook Hill.
Brook
Lane.
Hill, okay.
Eight-
All right,
80 Brook.
motion and a second, roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, approval and passage of resolution 2015-021, resolution authorizing the finance director to redeem at par $985,000 of Village of Vernon Hills alternate revenue refunding bonds for 2005 maturing between March 30th, 2016 and March 30th, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Larry, can you speak to this one for just a second?
Yes. The 2005 bonds, which were the advance refunding of the 2001 VHAC bonds, become callable. The maturity is outstanding 2016 through 2021 on March 30th of this year. And what this resolution does is authorize those pieces, the 985,000 of the 2.1 million that'll be outstanding after we make our regular March 30th payment. This authorizes the calling of those three maturities, 2016, 17, and 18, 985,000, leaving about 1,115,000 of the maturities that come due 2019, 20, and 21. And among other things, This saves us about $80,000 in interest costs. It's assumed for the budget and makes, basically the budget, makes makes that a cost we don't have to deal with in the next 3 budgets. And it will likely result in a deficit, but an explainable deficit and a reasonable deficit. And I think part of the decision here is it's a balancing act, especially as we go to the rating agencies, of how much of a deficit we run. Even though this is a justifiable reason for a deficit, we don't want the deficit to be in the millions. So, at any rate, this resolution provides that authorization.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Motion carries. Trustee Schultz?
If we're doing new business and communication, just like to report out, Trustee Hebda and I attended the Lake County Municipal League legislative breakfast 2 Saturdays ago. It was not as star-studded affair as the Northwest Municipal Conference, in that there was only one congressman, really no one directly from the governor's office. And the good news is I found that there was more unanimity amongst the state legislators concerning trying to protect LGDF along with protecting or improving the environment regarding PSEBA and pensions. The bad news was that there seemed to be a large groundswell amongst a number of the communities to move from individual fire and pension funds to a consolidated fire and pension fund. I had heard that at the Northwest Municipal Conference. They're touting the fact that the IMRF fund generates about a return over the last 10 years of about 8.6%, where our police fund, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're in the 6.6 to 6.8 range over the last 10 years. So one could make the case that, their critical mass allows them to generate more income. Conversely, though, I think there's a lot of issues out there that I'd be leery of us participating in on an equal level with other communities where their pension is less secure, their funding is less, they're only, funded at in the teens and 20% level. We're, depending upon the actuary, we're 60 to 70%, in some cases almost pushing 80, but that's pushing it funded. So with that being said, I think we really need to keep our eyes on that and make sure that we don't get swallowed up. John and I have had this conversation, and we believe that there's a lot of things that need to come together to make this happen, but conversely, I'm of the opinion that this could be a feel-good thing that would get passed, and then JCAR winds up making the rules after a bad law is enacted, which is never a good thing. The couple other points, the LGDF, there's a lot of discussion about everybody needing to take a haircut, which would include our portion going down. However, all the legislators to a person said that they'd be against that and they'd fight for us. However, one kind of disappointing thing was it appears as though that there is enough momentum out there to allow the governor to be granted emergency powers. Basically, it's the coward's way out. If you grant the governor emergency powers, he can go do what he feels needs to be done without legislative approval or interference.
Be kind of like the President of the United States.
Well, it would be in the sense of providing, having executive orders be the law of the land without, any, and in this case, they would give him advance blessing to do this for a period of time. He's looking for 4 years. I
I
think
mean, the Democrats are going to give this to him?
they may, just because it allows them to wash their hands and say, it's his problem, and we're giving him the authority to fix it.
Okay.
They don't have to take a vote, they don't, they just,
So you're,
well, the issue with that is that makes the LGDF a little more susceptible. And conversely, then the other thing I heard from the congressman that was there was that it doesn't appear as though the Marketplace Fairness Act is going to get any traction in that, and I love this, and this is a direct quote. Currently, Speaker Boehner has designated an individual, and I forgot which congressman it was, to articulate a set of principles on marketplace fairness. Which basically tells me, yeah, put that in the corner and, we'll get to it sometime before the next millennium. And marketplace fairness is the only thing that offers us any opportunity to generate some additional sales tax revenue based on our per capita share of those internet sales. So that makes the LGDF, tampering with LGDF, that much more problematic to us if in fact it does occur. Again, nothing was
so
cast
how
in
much
concrete.
LGDF do we get a year?
2.5, 3 million?
About 2.3 million.
And if you cut it in
And
half,
that's tied into what, the personal income tax?
Right, it's tied into the personal and corporate income tax and distributed. The municipalities get 1/10 of that based on population.
Yeah. Which is separate and succinct from the motor fuel tax per capita.
Separate, right.
right, and it's also separate from the personal property tax, right?
Right.
Personal property
Right.
corporate tax.
Right.
But that doesn't mean a hill of beans to us because we collect.
Yeah.
So how much
60,000.
is it a head? About $60 or $80?
Oh, for a replacement tax, we're collecting about 4,000 altogether. So.
No, I need this LGDF.
Oh, it's.
How much is that
I
per
think
person?
we're, what, about $120, something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
So I guess the only thing I would take away from the whole thing is that as we begin our budget discussions next week or in a few weeks, that we make sure that we keep Morell and Associates on board.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Along with any other functionaries that we can to protect our interests.
Trustee Williams?
Nothing as big as all of that, but I was gonna be for Dave, but Dave's not here, so I'll talk to John and his assistants over here. Today I was over by, where was I? Phillip Drive, coming from like Target area, and I'm sorry, I was on Sullivan I came down Deer Path and came across. The pine trees are all dying. Over half of them are brown. I mean, I was just amazed at how many, but it was when I dropped you off. I dropped Jeannie off at home and I was going back to my house. And there's just, that north side of Sullivan, they're just really in bad shape.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Public Works is aware of this, and
Oh, I'm
in fact,
sure
I
they are.
think Ken was looking at it last summer, sometime about, developing a plan to do some replacement in there, but I don't know how far he is right now, but we'll get
I
something
was,
to
it
you.
was kind of sad because there's
Yeah.
such mature, beautiful, such beautiful trees.
And being mature may be the part of the
I
problem,
think that's part of the problem.
so,
'cause
but
they're-
yeah, we'll get
they-
some
Just take a
update on
look,
it.
just
Yep.
take a peek at it.
Larry? Knackard?
Oh, I was just going to mention that as far as police pension consolidation, and I know Nikki's familiar with this, IMRF is a wonderful model in terms of, even though we're consolidated in how we are invested, each of us has a separate actuarial valuation. So, I mean, there are cases where, you know, our strength in funding would be recognized, as long as that continued through the legislation. But you're right, it could go very wrong in the legislative process.
Okay. All right. Anything else to come before the board? All right. Was there a motion to adjourn the board meeting and go to the committee of the whole?
So made.
Do we have an executive session?
Yeah, we have an executive session on personnel only, right?
Yeah.
Personnel and pending and threatened litigation. Those are the two items.
All right.
Second. Second.
Okay,
Second.
first and second on board? All right. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Motion carries. Okay, I'd like to call committee of the whole meeting to order. First item is approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes of February 3rd, 2015. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Comments or questions? Any deletions or corrections? If none, roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of special committee of the whole meeting minutes of February 10th, 2015. Is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments or questions, deletions or corrections? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Abstain.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Abstain.
Well, for the record, I'd vote aye. Motion carries. Okay, three, Riva Development Partners, Oaks of Vernon Hills, consideration of report and recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding various items, including the proposed rezoning, site plan, and amendment to the special use for a PUD known as the Oaks of Vernon Hills. Okay, who's got this one?
Thank you, Your Honor. As you'll recall, Riva Development came before the Committee of the Whole for a concept presentation on October 21st, 2014, to propose a 32-unit expansion for one building, apartment building, onto Lot 1 of the Oaks of Vernon Hills Planned Unit Development. At which time, the committee directed the petitioner to go before the technical review process. The petitioner subsequently met with the Planning and Zoning Commission on January 14th, 2015. They specifically requested an amendment to the zoning classification to B1, or from B1 to R7 multifamily residential, as well as to amend the special use permit that was approved as part of the ordinance 2013-34, which initially approved the planning unit development, as well as allowing certain variations, including 44-foot 7-inch rear yard setback, as well as a reduction in the minimum size requirements for multifamily dwelling units for 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. In addition to that, they also were looking for approval of preliminary and final site and landscaping plan approvals, as well as preliminary and final architectural elevations. It should be noted that the proposed 1 3-story, 32-unit residential apartment building is identical to the current existing apartment buildings at the location. The building will utilize identical architecture using the green colored elevations and use the same building materials as well as specific building code variation materials as indicated in your packet. During the course of the meeting, as well as in response to our technical review comments, The petitioner has agreed to screen the parking lot to shield the headlights from the parking lot to the residential properties and Ryder Estates directly south along Route 45. It should also be noted that notices were sent out to the surrounding property owners. While no property owners did attend the meeting, representatives from the Lincolnshire Prairie View Elementary School District 73 did attend the meeting where they voiced concerns over the impact of future housing developments that would impact their elementary school population. With all that being said, the commission did vote unanimously to approve the amendment to the zoning classification, as well as the special use and the preliminary and final landscaping and architectural elevations, with the variations that I described, as well as various conditions of approval, specifically including impact fees related to the expansion, as well as a condition related to the screening of utilizing the retaining wall and a landscape berm to shield the headlights along the parking lot by Route 45. So, if the committee of the whole feels that the request is appropriate, it is recommended that staff be directed to prepare the necessary ordinance granting approval to the following. Approval to amend the zoning classification from B1, general business, to R7, multifamily residential, to amend the special use permit as approved in ordinance 2013-34 for a planned unit development to allow development of a multifamily residential building, along with certain variations, including limited setbacks and dwelling unit size, preliminary and final site and landscaping plan approvals, and preliminary and final approval of the architectural elevations. As you will recall, certain building material variations were granted to the Oaks of Vernon Hills as part of the ordinance initially approving the planned unit development. These items did not require Planning and Zoning Commission review or approval, so these items were not included in the initial approval and will need to be added as a condition of approval under this direction. And these requests include to allow combustible framing and dwelling unit, floor, ceiling separation assemblies of identical material consistent with the Oaks of Vernon Hills, to allow combustible framing and dwelling unit separation walls consistent with the Oaks of Vernon Hills, and to allow type 5 construction consistent with the Oaks of Vernon Hills. These approvals would be subject to the compliance with variations and the conditions of approval listed above and in your packet. In addition to this, the petitioner is here available tonight to answer any questions.
You know, just going forward, I mean, I know, you know, it's been a while, other than, you know, with certain multifamily apartment units that we've, you know, been presented with conceptually and also, you know, approved over the last couple of years. This is before you were here, Joe, and Nikki, and we used to, you know, generate a, you know, a report as to how much real estate tax would be developed out of, say, would emanate out of this type of a development. And I'd like, going forward, since, you know, we have some, you know, concerned school districts, to continue to do that. And I'd also like somebody to start calculating, you know, what the actual Naperville donation is. You know, so,
Yeah.
So it's distributed to all of us,
Mhm.
and then, you know, distributed to the school districts. And so that everybody's kind of sees the transparency, you know. But I mean, we did so many projects over the years, and what do we got?
This is what this project is,
Yeah, just for these
just
32
for this
units.
32 units.
Yeah,
Right.
typically, the impact
pretty
fees
good.
have been included as a part of the conditions of approval, so
Right.
those are normally there, but we can add definitely the property tax information to it, so.
Right, you know, maybe, and I mean, that's the one, I mean, guess, you know, it's gonna perpetuate,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah.
so, okay. I'll open this up to the board. Do you have any questions for the developers? Trustee Cook.
Basically, it's just adding another building virtually identical to what's there, correct? You guys
Yeah,
have been,
sure.
yeah, you guys have been doing that well on the rentals?
Good evening, Warren James, Principal of Riva Development. Yes, progress is terrific. Last I checked, we were at 90 units leased. Currently have 67 already moved in, and that is ahead of expectations.
No, I haven't been down that way for a while, and I was telling Jeannie today, I said, I drove by the other day, and I went, oh my God, look at all the
Looks a little
places
different,
over there.
doesn't it?
I was like, wow. And look, I know it took a while to put them up, but it seemed like it went up overnight. It was like, oh my goodness. And I did drive through, and it looks very nice.
Thank you.
It's very nice.
Okay.
Apparently, there's no question.
No problem.
With regard to the addition of children, we've always, correct me if I'm wrong, Trustee Cook, but roughly 0.4 children per unit, and you're well below that, it's my understanding.
We are below the anticipated number of school-aged children as determined by the typical Naperville or Ehlers criteria. We're below that estimate.
Significantly below it based
Yeah,
on,
at present, of the 88 that are in our pool that we know the demographics, there are 15 school-age students living within the community, but that includes 24 of the 48 townhomes. So fully 50% of the townhomes have been leased, and there 10 of those 15 school-age kids living in the townhomes. So
And
take
how's
that-
it broken out between elementary and high school?
The preponderance are in high school. I think there's, of the 15, I think there are 5 that are in the elementary, middle school age range, as we would anticipate. And as I mentioned, if you take those 24 units that are occupied, townhomes, there are 10 school-age students, double that, that's 20. There are 5 in 64 leased apartments. So extrapolate that, we've probably got another 30 kids
Yeah,
to go.
way under half a kid per unit.
So we're still well below the estimate. I think the estimate
Yeah.
is 72 projected by the formulas. 62? Yeah, still below that number.
Great.
Okay.
So, no, I have no further questions. So, John, exactly what do you need? You, maybe the conditions that's set forth on page 5 of your summary? Motion to direct staff to prepare all ordinances?
second.
Motion is second. Any other comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Yeah, historically, this type of product does not bring in a lot of students.
Right. Okay.
Come on, you can do it. Motion to
Right.
adjourn.
Okay, what else we got?
That's it.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn committee of the whole, go into closed session, discuss
So made.
personnel and pending litigation?
So made.
Second? Go
Motion
ahead.
second, roll call, please.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you, and good night.
Mick, long time no see. Glad you can make it.
Yeah.
I'm here because of you.